Discuss chapter 4. We have some delay, as you know. We'll try to finish chapter 4 today. It's about a very important topic in macroeconomics. And it can be very useful for those who worry about how their customers should react to a decision that aims to increase prices or to decrease prices. Actually, before you decide to increase or to decrease your prices, you should better look at the responsiveness of your customers to your decision. This responsiveness is calculated or is measured by what we call elasticity. In the first type of elasticity is the price elasticity of demand. It's equal to the absolute value of the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in price. Then ED, the elasticity of demand, the price elasticity of demand, it's equal to the absolute value. The absolute value is here, if we get positive numbers, is the absolute value of the percentage change in quantity demanded. Then the percentage change in quantity demanded is equal to delta Q over Q, divided by the percentage change in price. The percentage change in price is equal to delta P divided by P. Let's take an example. Actually, there are two methods to calculate the price elasticity of demand. There is the initial values method and the midpoint values formula. But we'll just use the first one, the more easiest. The more easiest one, the initial value, the initial values formula. So, initial price $20, initial quantity 100, then you decide to increase your price from 20 to 22, and of course, because we have a law in macroeconomics that says when the price increases, the quantity demanded falls. That is the law of demand. The natural phenomenon is that the quantity demanded will fall from 100 to 80. Then here we have P0, Q0, initial values, P0 20, Q0 100. Now we have a new price, P1 22, and the new quantity demanded equal to 80. we calculate the percentage change in quantity, Q, delta Q. This is the first part, delta Q on Q. It's equal to the new price, 22 minus 20 delta Q. This is delta Q, no? Over 20 initial. That's why it's called initial values. This is the initial values. 22 minus 20 over 20. It is equal to 2 over 20 is equal to 0.1. It's equal to 10%. This is the percentage change in quantity. Sorry, I made a mistake, sorry. A big mistake, sorry. A big mistake. Then initial price, it's equal to 20. Initial quantity, it's equal 100. The new price, P1, it's equal to 22, sorry. And then the new quantity, it's equal to 80. Then the percentage change in quantity, it's equal to the new quantity minus the old quantity over the initial value, that means the old quantity. It's equal to minus 20 over 100, yes. It's equal minus 0.2. It's equal minus 20%. Is it clear? Yes. Minus 20%. Let's calculate now the percent change in price. Percentage change in price, it's equal to the new price, 22, minus the old price, 20, over the initial value, the initial price, 20. It's equal to 2 over 20. It's equal to 0.1. It's equal 10%. 0.1 is 10%. So, the priority elasticity of demand, ED, is equal to the absolute value of percentage change in quantity minus 20% over the percentage change in price, 10%. It's equal to. This is the price elasticity of demand. 2. Is it clear? Okay, you will get it on the exam. Huh? So 2 means that if you increase your price, this is how we interpret 2. 2. if prices increase by 10%, then quantity demanded falls by 20%. By the same, if you increase your prices by 50%, quantity demanded will fall by 100%. This is how we can use the value, the price elasticity of demand, to make interpretation, and we can predict changes in demand. Now, in our example, the price elasticity of demand is 2. If you increase your price by 10%, quantity demanded falls by 20%. Here the reaction or the fall in demand is more proportionate than the increase in price. Then here demand is called or is said to be elastic. Actually, every time that you calculate the price elasticity of demand and you find that it's higher than 1, demand is said to be elastic. And graphically, it is represented by a curve that is flat. The demand curve will be flat. Okay? Not horizontal, but flat. Relatively flat. We have actually 5 different demand curves showing 5 different elasticities. We have 5 different elasticities. In the first case, demand is elastic when the price elasticity of demand is higher than 1. In the second case, demand is inelastic if the price elasticity of demand is less than 1. For example, if the price elasticity is equal to half, like here, half. What is the meaning of half? You increase, if the prices increase by 10%, then quantity demanded falls by how much? Is there anyone who can answer me? When the price elasticity of demand is equal to half, then if the price increases by 10%, quantity demanded will fall by how much, Kamal? You said? You are very close, Kamal. Hussein, just look here. Here, for example, when it's equal to 2, you increase price. If price increase by 1%, quantity demanded falls by 2%. Let's matter 2. If you increase price by 2%, quantity demanded falls by 4%. This is how we can use 2. Here it's a half. Now instead of 2 we have half. Then if you increase price by 1%, then quantity demanded will fall by 0.5%. This is the interpretation of half. Then if you increase here, that's what happens if prices increase by 1%. But if prices increase by 10%, then quantity demanded will fall, but yes, exactly, Hussein, by 5%. You'll get a question like that, huh? So, this is the second elasticity, inelastic. Demand is inelastic when the price elasticity of demand is less than 1. When the price elasticity is equal to 1, demand is said to be unit elastic. Unit elastic. It's equal to 1. If the price increases by 1%, quantity demanded falls by 1%. 1. Equiproportionate. When the price elasticity is equal to 0, the demand curve will be vertical like that. And demand is said to be perfectly inelastic. Perfectly inelastic. You increase the price by 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, doesn't matter because there will be no reaction from consumers. Quantity demanded remains the same. It doesn't change. This is the meaning of 0 here. Finally, when the demand curve is horizontal like that, the price elasticity is equal to infinity. When the price elasticity is equal to infinity, the demand is said to be perfectly elastic. You increase your price by 1%, you lose the entire market. Here demand is said to be perfectly elastic. Then we have 5 types of price elasticity of demand. 5 different elasticities. Higher than 1, elastic. Lower than 1, inelastic. 0, perfectly inelastic. Or 1, unit elastic. 0, perfectly inelastic. Infinity, perfectly elastic. These are the 5 types of price elasticity of demand. So what determines the price elasticity of demand? Why demand is for some products elastic, for other products not elastic? Actually, demand is relatively elastic if, for example, there are many substitutes. If the product is a luxury. However, demand becomes demand becomes relatively inelastic if the product is a necessity and if there are few substitutes, especially. Now we'll discuss other types of elasticities of demand. The second elasticity of demand is the income elasticity of demand. The income elasticity of demand is used to distinguish between inferior goods and normal goods. Inferior goods and inferior goods and normal goods. Inferior and normal. the income elasticity of demand is equal to the percentage change in quantity demanded, delta Q over Q, divided by the percentage change in income, delta I over I, income. Then the income elasticity is always positive for normal goods. Then after calculating the income elasticity of demand, and you find that it's positive, then it's a normal good. However, if it's negative, you have in face of you an inferior good. Another type of elasticity is the cross-price elasticity of demand. The cross-price elasticity of demand is used to distinguish between substitute goods and complementary goods. If we need or if we want to distinguish or to determine whether the two products are substitutes or complementary goods, we use the cross-price elasticity of demand. The cross-price elasticity of demand between one good X and the second good Y is equal to the percentage change in quantity demanded of X divided by the percentage change in the price of the good Y. Then it's equal to the percentage change in quantity demanded of X divided by the percentage change in the price of the product Y, not X. Then if the cross-price elasticity of demand is positive, then you have two substitutes. If the cross-price elasticity of demand is positive, you have substitute goods. If the cross-price elasticity is negative, you have complementary goods. Then it's you can use, this is actually a very good exercise, for example. Now let's examine a more important topic in this chapter, which shows the relationship between price elasticity of demand and profits or the firm's revenue. If you are a manager, your total revenue, the revenue of your firm or your company, is the money you generate from selling your product. You sell your product, say you are selling shirts, then total revenue from selling shirts is equal to the price per shirt times the quantity of shirts we have sold. This is your total revenue. So what is the relationship between total revenue and the price elasticity of demand? Let's examine two examples. In the first one, the demand is supposed to be elastic. The price elasticity of demand is equal to 2. Then the percentage change, then here, when the price is 10, the quantity sold, if the initial price is 10, initial quantity sold 100, initial revenue $1,000. Now you decide to increase your price from 10 to 11. Then here the percentage change in the price is equal to 11 minus 10 divided by 10. It's equal to 10%. Then you increase your price by 10%. What happens to quantity sold? The quantity sold falls from 100 to 80. Then 80 minus 100 over 100. Then the quantity sold will fall by 20%, minus 20% here. So your total revenue also has fallen from 1,000 to 880. This is a very important result. Actually, when demand is elastic, this is what the conclusion here, and this is an essay, a problem-solving in numerical exercise in the exam. When demand is elastic, if you increase, then when demand is elastic, the percentage change in price is lower than the percentage change in quantity. You have increased your price by 10%, quantity sold fell by 20%. That's why your total revenue has fallen. You are losing here. Then if demand is elastic and you increase your price, you are the loser. You be a big loser. You lose your money. You decide to increase your price only if demand is inelastic, like here. When, for example, the price elasticity of demand is 0.5. Then you increase your price by 20%. Here, 120 minus 100 over 100 is equal to 20%. What will happen? Demand, the quantity sold, will fall by 10%. 9 minus 10 over 10. It's equal minus 10%. Minus 0.1. 0.1 was 10%, and minus 10%. Then you increase your price by 20%. This is huge. Your quantity sold falls only by 10%. That's why finally your total revenue increases from 1,000 to 1,080 dollars. Then when demand is inelastic, you can increase your price. Then this is the rationale for the results we get. Then, when demand is elastic, if you increase your price, your total revenue will fall because the percentage change in quantity is larger than the percentage change in price. Then here the lesson here, what we can make as a conclusion, then when demand is elastic, you better decrease your price. Because if you decrease your price, your total revenue will increase. It will increase because the percentage change in quantity is larger than the percentage change in price. When you decrease your price, the quantity demanded will increase. Okay? However, when demand is inelastic, if the price increases, your total revenue will increase because the percentage change in quantity is smaller than the percentage change in price. So when demand is inelastic, you should better increase your price, and you should never try to decrease your price, because if you decrease your price, you will be a big loser. These same formulas, we can use them for the supply side. As we have a price elasticity of demand, we have a price elasticity of supply. The price elasticity of supply is equal to the percentage change in quantity supplied over the percentage change in price. Here, of course, it can be used to measure by how much producers react to any increase in prices. Then what we should expect is that when demand is inelastic, the price elasticity, then here you have an example of price elasticity of supply, supply that is inelastic. The supply curve is steep, and here we have the example of supply curve that shows that supply is rather elastic. So, now let's move to another very important topic. Section 6 in chapter 4 shows how we can use elasticity to predict changes in equilibrium price. Here, for example, initially the equilibrium was at point A. Initial quantity 100 and initial price 1. Then it happens, we have a shift in demand. Demand shifts to the right. Then we move, of course, the adjustment towards equilibrium is in two times. Firstly, the price doesn't change. We move from A to B. And then, after enough time passes, we move from B to C. Then we have new prices and the new quantity demanded. So these values can be predicted by using elasticity. We suppose that the percentage change in equilibrium price is equal to the percentage change in demand divided by the price elasticity of supply plus the price elasticity of demand. Then here, as you can see, we were at point A. Quantity exchanged on the market is 100. Suddenly demand has increased. Then we move from A to B. Then here the percentage change in demand here is equal to 135 minus 100 over 100 is equal to plus 35%. This, of course, here demand has increased by 35%, and the price didn't change. It will take time before adjustment will take place. Then here at point B, we have disequilibrium between supply and demand. At point B, at point A, if the price remains unchanged, equal to 1 here, supply will be equal to 100, while demand will be equal to 135. So we have an excess demand. In order to restore equilibrium, the price should increase to resolve the excess demand. So we move back from point B to point C. So at the point C, the new price or the new quantity demanded will be equal to 120. This 120, it's demand, that means we move from B to C. Then demand will fall, finally will fall from 135, to 120, then the percentage change in demand will be equal to 120 minus 135 over 135. It's equal to how much? Then 120 minus 135 equal minus over 135. 11 minus 11.11%. Okay? Then here, is it possible for us to calculate the price elasticity of supply and demand? My answer is yes. When we move here from A to C, the initial price is equal to 1. The new price is equal to 1.1. The initial quantity, Q0, is equal to 100. Sorry, yes, for supply here, quantity supplied here, the initial quantity supplied is equal to 100. The new quantity supplied, Q1, is equal to 120. So the price elasticity of supply is equal to the percentage change in quantity, sorry, not absolute value. It's equal to the percentage change in quantity supplied, 120 minus 100 over 100, all divided by the percent change in price, 1.1 minus 1 divided by 1. It's equal to 20% over 10% is equal to. Then here the price elasticity of supply is equal to 2. From the other side, we have demand. The price elasticity of demand here, from here, we move from B to C. When the price increases from 1 to 1.1, here, the quantity demanded the initial quantity demanded for P equal to 1 is here in point B is equal to 135, and now with the new price P1, the new quantity demanded now is equal to 120. So the price elasticity of demand is equal to the percentage change in quantity, 120 minus 135 over 135 divided by the percentage change in price, 1.1 minus 1 over 1. Then you get 120 minus 135 equal divided by 135, 11.1 minus 11.11% divided by 10%. Then here 100 divided by by 0.1. 0.1, that means 10%. That means 1.11. Then it's equal 1.11. This is the price elasticity of demand. Then we can use this information to predict the percentage change in price equilibrium is equal to the percentage change in demand, for example. How much the percent change in demand here? It's equal to minus 11.11%, minus 11.11, divided by the sum of the price elasticity of supply and the price elasticity of demand. That means 2 plus 1.11. 2 plus 1.11. You will find it's equal to the percentage change in equilibrium price. It's normally it's equal to 11.11 divided by 3.11. We get 3.75%. 3.75% minus 3.75%. This will be the percentage change in the equilibrium price. Okay. And then this is how we can use it. We can use it to some point. It's complicated, but it's important. Okay. Then try to focus on this section, as it's important, very important for your assignments, future assignments, and also for the exam. How we can use the price elasticity of supply and of demand to predict changes in equilibrium price. So the percentage change in equilibrium price is equal to the percentage change in demand divided by the price elasticity of supply plus the price elasticity of demand, or the percentage change also in equilibrium price is also equal to minus percentage change in supply divided by the sum of the price elasticity of supply and the price elasticity of demand. These two formulas can both be used in order to predict changes in equilibrium price. You need then, in order to use this formula, you need as given this given information, percentage change in supply, the price elasticity of supply, the price elasticity of demand. If we have data about these three variables, you can predict the percentage change in equilibrium price. Any questions? Okay. If you have any questions, next week, inshallah, we can address these questions together. If you need any help, or you can just come in my office, I will be happy to explain to you further these topics. It's important. Okay? Thank you. Or just email me if you have any questions about anything. Thank you very much. See you inshallah. Thank you.